Welcome to the Making Moves with Mal podcast. In every episode, you'll hear stories from individuals just like you that are trying to make an impact. They'll share their unique journey and some helpful tips that got them to where they are now. You'll hear conversations with people from all walks of life who are trying to make some moves. Now, here's your host, Mal.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Making Moves with Mal. I'm excited today because I got my guest, Michael Diaz. He comes with amazing sales experience in the car industry and is now taking all that experience and bringing it into real estate. So I'm excited to hear his journey on how he got to where he is now. And I'm excited to share this episode with you guys. So thanks for coming, bro. Appreciate you joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, man.
Mauricio.
So let's start from the very beginning, bro. Like, what got you even interested in sales, right?
Basically, I was in the South, and long story short, I was done with school and never sold anything.
Okay.
Never liked automobiles, so I started in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
Long story short, a girlfriend knew somebody, a finance manager, and then that's my journey started. And right when I started, I didn't know anybody in the town.
Right.
I didn't have any connections, and was the number one salesperson first month out.
Dang.
I was addicted.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, I was addicted.
How long did that start? Like, when did you start that?
That was probably around almost 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. That was your first taste into sales, right? And obviously sales is one of those industries where you can make a lot of money if you're really good.
Yeah. It was, I never sold anything.
Yeah.
And, basically it was 100% commission.
Yeah.
So there was no hourly, there was no nothing. It was just hustling. And I'm very competitive. I played sports. And so when I got there, there was a bunch of salesmen there. I didn't know anything about the cars, but the one thing I knew was people. I knew how to talk to the people, listen to the people,
Yeah.
and help them in their journey for the vehicle.
Dude, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So what do you think is some of the more important things as a new sales rep, like when you first started in the car industry, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of the tactics or habits that you picked up, or some of the things that you noticed that, hey, if I keep doing this, it's going to help me move my business forward, move my sales skills, and develop as a good salesman?
My tagline that I tell when I first started, and basically when I got promoted to a general manager of a store or stores, was I told them three things. So imagine if we're going to go show a house, and you're showing a house to three different clients, and imagine if they had a necklace and a board on front of them. So I told them, every person you talk to, if you make them feel important,
Yeah.
make them feel special, make them feel like the only one, you'll solve their problems. So every time when they come in, pretend they're wearing a sign. Hey, make me feel important, make me feel special, make me feel like the only one, and they're gonna always want to be they're going to want to buy something from your service from you. So that was my tagline from 20 years ago.
From the very beginning, and It's still stuck with you
It's
today,
still
right?
stuck with me today. Same thing with real estate.
Yeah.
When you meet someone that's credit challenged, when you meet someone that says, I can't buy a house, I don't have money down, I'm not ready to buy, most of us will just cancel that meeting.
Right.
Or just say, I don't need to meet you. But I think if you meet that person and you kind of paint that picture of their journey to show them how simple it can be, most times, 9 times out of 10, they're going to stretch for you. They're going to get the, pre-approval. They're going to maybe try to break their lease or talk to their landlord or something.
They'll find a way.
Find a way, yeah. And
Yeah.
you just got to paint that picture for them. So I always try to meet with people regardless of what they say.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people that get into sales, and I mean, not just in real estate, but in any industry, need to realize that it's a relationship building business. Mm-hmm. The only way you're going to be able to succeed is if you're building good relationships, good rapport with clients,
100%.
Because they are going to be the bloodline of your business, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones giving you referrals, recommending you to friends and family. So that's so vital and very important that you learn that early on, man. So now, obviously, fast forward to today, you're now in the real estate space. How has that transition been, like, from taking all the knowledge that you've learned from the automotive industry and sales and now bringing that to real estate? How has that transition been? Has it been easy for you to adapt?
It's been fun because the biggest thing you preach and I preach is CRM, follow up, the customer experience.
Yeah.
So as long as you're efficient with the client, you kind of figure out where they're at in their journey, and you put them in your CRM in the appropriate part of their journey.
Right.
It'll kind of help them take baby steps. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the CRM, I live and breathe by it. I live and breathe by follow up. And so I noticed that in the real estate industry, and just like any industry, follow up and CRM is the parts that people fail.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's key to me, 100%.
Yeah, staying organized with your database, your clients is so valuable and so important. Now, when it comes to real estate, comparing it to like the automotive industry, right? Real estate's not one of those industries where somebody walks through the showroom or a property and says, hey, I want to buy this house tomorrow, right? Whereas in the dealership world, somebody can walk in the morning, you can get them a car by the afternoon, right? So the transaction actually takes a little bit longer.
That's my adjustment. Right?
I was going to say, how has that adjustment been for you as coming from like a faster pace, like deals close kind of every day as opposed to now, obviously most transactions take at least 30 days, 60 days sometimes. So
thankfully, with our new lead source program, I've had a couple deals already.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is patience, right? I want instant gratification like all of us.
Right.
And so the big thing is I have to look at the bigger picture. So I'm used to getting, closing deals immediately, helping salespeople. So now I'm looking at it as like more of basically a marathon rather than the dealership is a race.
A race, yeah, the sprint.
So yeah, sprint. So pretty much, it's not easy, right? So I have to be true to myself, but then also adjust my expectations, and then know where they're at in the funnel of the process of buying a home.
Yeah.
And then just kind of help them. Sometimes handhold them. Sometimes let them know that the way they're thinking buying a home. Sometimes is not the correct way. So sometimes you got to answer questions or fact find and then let them know, hey, great, I had a client that was in a lease. They're buying a home right now.
Yeah.
And they're still in the lease. This is the steps they took. Let's talk to your fiance, wife, or husband, and I can show you the path. So then you won't be in a rush when your lease is ending versus options now, rush later.
For sure. Yeah. For sure, man. I love that because it just goes to show that there is a way, like if somebody has a goal in mind to achieve like home ownership or whatever the goal is, right? Mm-hmm. If you set out the right plan, there's a way you can get it done.
Exactly.
It's about just wanting to do it.
It's 100% for our job to kind of help motivate them, help paint the picture, show them the path, maybe show them one option or two, and then remind them sometimes, when you follow up, I don't know what your follow-up process is, but depending how much you touch base with them, and then you want to make sure you have value when you follow.
Of course.
And so that's the key for me. I always try to find a strategy before I call. I look to see in my CRM, what were they doing? What were they looking at? So then when I call them, I can have something about personal and then the business and then close it where I can try to get a task done or at least have some homework for them. So when I call them back, some follow-up. So when I call them back, I go, so, hey, did you get the pre-approval ready? And have a client with Jose. And they said, I have everything except the VA certificate. I said, okay, great. The home you're looking at just got reactivated. The quicker you get that certificate in, the quicker we can make that dream on that home that you wanted, that you thought you lost. Now you get your second chance.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
It's just about that motivation and keeping it alive for them.
Yeah, their motivation is the home, so I use the home as leverage to get the information we need. And the reason we need that information is so when you go to the closing table, they don't get they get here you go, here's your paperwork, here's the check, proof of funds, clear to close, and next thing you know, they're in their new home.
Yeah, I love it, man. So let's talk about some of those hard lessons to learn, man, because sales is one of those industries where like there's not one playbook to do sales right? Just like in the car industry, as in real estate, there's not one right way to meet with a client or work with a client, right? So sometimes you learn a lot in the field as you go, and you learn some of those like harder lessons as you go. Like I've had my fair share of experiences where like I had to learn things quick and sometimes learn from a failure to overcome it and not have that failure happen again, right? So what have been some of those lessons for you that you think you've held on to that have really ingrained your way of how you actually conduct your business?
The biggest thing is a failure is an opportunity. So whenever someone fails, I always practice what I preach. So I wanted to fail in front of my team because I wanted them to see that it's an opportunity to grow and try not to repeat the same mistakes. So same thing in real estate. So the biggest thing is every challenge or every failure, as most people say, it's an opportunity to look at yourself, reflect, readjust, and then pivot in the right direction. And so to me, that's the biggest thing is every time you make a mistake or every time you have a setback, look at it as just an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing for me is when I was in the automotive industry, baseball, you bat 300, you're a Hall of Famer.
Right.
So you fail 7 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So in real estate, the closing percentages, are single digits.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is that you want to find all those no's, you want to find all those hang-ups, closed doors when you're door knocking or whatever you're doing to prospect. The more no's you find, that means the yes is coming. So it's more about mental. And just when you get that no, whether you're doing a dollar or anything, however, follow up, have that mental note of amnesia. Like forget that no, figure out what you did wrong in that situation, and then learn how to not repeat it.
Yeah. And being persistent with the activities that are actually moving your business forward.
Exactly.
I love that, man. So as a relatively newer agent, right, there's obviously a lot to learn when it comes to real estate. What has been your experience so far in terms of like the knowledge that you've gained so far through our organization and just your experience? Because I know you've obviously also flipped houses before. So maybe let's touch base a little bit on like what you've learned so far throughout your career as a newer real estate agent.
The biggest thing is relationships are important. Yeah. Being able to research homes, whether a person's looking in an area, a zip code, or a city, and having a pulse on basically finding that home that they're looking for more efficiently.
Yeah.
And then making sure that you put their information in the CRM and their MLS or whatever you have, and being patient and being consistently following up with the person. I've had leads where I followed up with a month and a half and no response. And then all of a sudden response, and now we're under contract. So the biggest thing is following up and having a process, sticking to it, and then adjusting it where you see success. And then when you see that little hiccup, use it as an opportunity to grow. So that's the biggest thing I've learned so far.
Yeah, and that's very important, actually, the fact that you didn't let things fall through the cracks, because a lot of people don't undervalue or underestimate the amount of follow-up it actually takes to convert a lead that you don't know, right? Somebody, not someone that's close to you, friend, family, or sphere of influence, because those are easier to convert because they already know you, trust you, and want to work with you. But a brand new lead that knows nothing about you, right? The conversion for those clients takes a lot longer, and a lot of people give up a little too soon. Whereas if they just kept pushing, made that extra phone call or that extra 2-3 calls, they could have converted that client, right? So that persistence actually, I think, is where a lot of people fail in terms of keeping that follow-up going. So what motivates you to actually keep that going in your business?
I think I took it from the automotive industry. As a salesman, finance manager, GM, I always told them you got to call someone or touch base with someone 9 to 11 times before you get a contact. Yeah. So in my head, same thing with real estate, at least 9 or 11 times. But by the time you get to the third point of contact, you give up. Yeah. So I think the motivation is kind of like similar to our boot camp we had today. Yeah. Most people fail in the follow-up. Yeah. And so that's the motivation for me is you're not battling, I think they said there, you're not battling 70,000 agents. You're battling maybe 20% of them. Right. So if agent A is going to call 3 times, agent B is going to call 4 or 5 times, I'm going to be agent C. I'm going to call 9, 11 times. I'm going to text, email. But I'm going to try to find a way to value, whether it's a home, whether it's a new program, something where they might pique their interest because you don't know if you're not communicating with them. 100%. So to me, that's the biggest thing that I took from the automotive industry, and being competitive in sports. That's what I do. So the motivation is more about I want to get in contact with the client and then make sure I service them to the utmost and take care of them. So that's my motivation. Yeah, I love it because you mentioned, obviously baseball is a great analogy because it's about the number of times you go up at bat, not how many home runs you hit, right? Like hitting singles consistently will eventually get you to those home runs. But if you're not even going up to the plate, then you're losing all opportunity, man. No, agreed. So for you, what would you say, like, say you got a brand new agent that wants to get into real estate, wants to learn the ropes. What would you say are some of the
3 or 5 best things, tactics, mindset, whatever the case is, that they need to learn and need to know early on in their career for them to actually see some sort of success?
The number one is be your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
Speak to yourself in a positive way, and be pretty much you're either
very
best
self-motivated.
Yeah, self-motivated. You're either your worst enemy or you're pretty much human cheerleader.
Yeah.
So to me, your mindset 100%. Be sold on yourself. Believe in yourself that you can do it, and that's the number one key. 2, be okay with failing. Be okay with someone saying no to you. How do you approach getting a no, or how do you approach a challenge?
Yeah.
Right. So your mindset is if you fail and you look at it as a failure, your whole mindset, your attitude, your motivation is going to kind of not be your mindset's not going to be right. So to me, 100%, how you feel about yourself, your motivation, structure. And you love this one, time management.
Oh, yes.
Right?
So important, man. Yes.
Yeah, so time management. Those were the 3. So you have to be 1, have a strong mindset, 2, structure, and then time management, and then a goal or a process that you want to put in place.
Yeah.
So when you start off, you don't want to use all the fancy programs and everything. The biggest thing you want to do is prospect and get leads.
Get out there and do it.
Get out there. Yeah, because it doesn't cost anything to knock on a door. It doesn't cost anything to look in Zillow and look up for sale by owners and zip codes and call them up. That's free. So there's a lot of things you can do for free, but sometimes we want the fancy new shiny toy.
Right.
In reality, to start a great foundation is mindset, believing in yourself, time management, and prospecting, period.
I love it, dude. I think, from my experience, I think a lot of agents have that fear of rejection when it comes to like cold calling or door knocking, right? Because they think, oh, what if I get this door slammed in my face? Or what if this person, yells at me or cusses me out when I'm on the phone? So a lot of them have this negative self-talk that goes through their head before they even get out there and start. And that's why they have that fear of even starting that process, right? So I think eliminating yourself from that way of thinking is so crucial in having any sort of growth and success in becoming a good realtor and good at what you do, right?
No, I agree 100%. I always say when someone says, what if this is this? And then I always respond, what if it goes right?
Yeah.
What if the person lets you in the house? What if the person gives you a referral? What if the person says, I was thinking about selling my home, or I know a friend, cousin? So a lot of times if you change those what ifs into positive outcomes, your mindset's different when you're walking each door. Because if you get that door slam in your face, as you walk to the next door, you're thinking, what if they open the door? What if they give me a referral? What if they say they were going to list it? What if they say they wanted to be investing in another property? So as you walk to each door or as you go to each opportunity, what if yourself of all the good scenarios, I guarantee your mindset will be different once they open that door. Yeah.
The way I like to think about it is you're one phone call away from changing your life. You're one door knock away from changing your life. If you have that mentality moving forward in this business, and you'll have a very long and successful career.
Yeah, we always hear people, you're one connection away from a shift, right? Yeah. So to me, focus on that versus the latter. Yeah. So every time you might get a door closed or an opportunity not happen or an outcome that you don't see, kind of accept it, reflect, and then as you go to the next opportunity, what if yourself to what happens if this happens, and what if fuel? Fuel, and what if everything? To me, what if a positive scenario, and you'll start thinking of more positive scenarios when you get that little hiccup or that little challenge.
Yeah, and it's hard to stay motivated, and that's the next kind of topic that I want to go over with you, because a lot of us can have motivation, and motivation is very cyclical, right? You can feel motivated one day, and then the next day you can feel like, oh, well, you know what, I don't want to do anything. So motivation is one thing, but I want to talk about discipline, because there's a big difference between the two, right? Because
massive.
Discipline is what's going to get you going and make you do things on days that you don't want to do it, right? And that goes for every aspect of life. But for you, how has that played a role in the success that you've seen in your business?
Motivation to me is like food, right?
Yeah.
So basically you take a bite of motivation, you digest it, and then all of a sudden you're hungry later. Right? So you're hungry for motivation, but discipline is things you don't want to do, things that most people don't do, and so you got to make it a daily habit. So to me, it's, you can do 21 days, 90 days, but to me, it's like waking up and having a why, writing your goals down.
Yeah.
and then put them everywhere you can see, where you want to carry them, where you want to put them when you wake up in the morning. So then you can kind of remind yourself, give the motivation, and then with the motivation every morning, you'll have that discipline to follow through. Because at the end of the day, when you go to sleep at night, say this is your last day, and every day do you reflect and go, man, that was a great day.
Right.
And at the end of that day, if you're like, no, you want to go to sleep and think, okay, I'm going to attack the day. So when I go to sleep and I reflect on what I did, I feel good.
Yeah, it was a productive, efficient day for you. Yeah,
exactly. Whatever your goals are, or whatever you think is productive, each day, if you think of that, you're going to tweak, level up much quicker. And by the time you're a couple weeks into that type of mindset thinking, you're going to go probably way above and beyond the goals that you set for yourself.
That's so true, man. Yeah, I love that. Let's talk about what does your your day look like? A typical day for you in this business, what does that look like for you?
Recently, it's pretty much waking up, not touching the phone, not for an hour, probably like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Working out, coming back, and then using basically cold calling. So whether cold calling for sale by owners, canceled, canceled or expired. So right then and there. And then if I have any showings or if I have any items that I need to do after that, I'll have it on my calendar or any closings. Like this week I have one. But pretty much anything that I need to do or I know I have to do, I will pretty much put it in the calendar. So I'll do something in the morning, and then between 5 to 7, depending if I don't have any showings, cold calling again and prospecting. So right now, being new, that's what I'm doing. So it's not about doing content, things of that nature, which we are now. But the main thing is prospecting and adding one little repertoire, because you want to get really good at prospecting. You don't want to be good at 5 things. I want to get prospects, leads, convert them. And that's my main focus.
Yeah, we talked about actually today, like getting business now is going after that now action, like sellers, expired listing for sale by owners. Those are people that if you can get in front of and you can build good rapport and have a great conversation, that client can get converted right away, right? Whereas content creation, social media, all these other lead generation channels, they do take a little bit longer to develop. But you do have to have a good combination of both. Oh, yeah. But for people that are starting off and they need business now, that's the easiest way to get in front of it, man.
Well, that's why I'm here with you today, too. The biggest thing is having a consistent follow-up process, having a consistent content, whatever content you want to do, whether it's a post, a story, a blog, anything. But it's finding your niche, being consistent with it. So that's the biggest thing with me is finding my way. And that's kind of what I'm doing daily. And it's navigating wanting that deal right now. That's my biggest challenge is having patience.
Right. So for sure, man. And then obviously you have a lot of, a lot of people. You've got a big network when it comes to the real estate space in general, right? How do you feel your experience has been so far in the path that you've chosen to go through in terms of like the brokerage you're with, the training that you've have access to, the leads that you're receiving? Like, what does that all look like to you? The biggest reason I think I chose the XP is because the freedom. And someone told me, a loan officer, she said, reason people choose the XP is because they're more business oriented. Right. It's a business within a business. So BXP is just a vehicle, and you have different avenues. So to me, that was the biggest thing, is the training, the avenues, the different streams of income. Right. And so to me, it's not traditional, and that's what I like about it. Yeah. And so my experience for sure has been good. It's been challenging. It's been making me get out of my comfort zone, but I like it. And so that's why I do it daily, because like you said, we're going to get more no's than yeses. Right. And that motivates me to make the next call or do the next task that'll get me there. So the biggest thing is with the XP, you have different options and opportunities to help people. And if someone doesn't want to be a transaction person, they want to be a person that recruits people or trains people or influence people, EXP has a seat for every person within the industry. Yeah. And no other brokerage can do that. And so that's what attracted me to it. That's amazing, man. Yeah. Well, dude, we're glad to have you a part of us, and we're excited to see your success, man. This is just the beginning for you, right? Yeah. Where do you see yourself in the next 3, 5, 10 years? What do these goals look like for you?
The biggest goals is transaction wise is to hit a certain amount of transactions that I want to hit this year, and then obviously help people, because to me it would be an injustice for me not to tell them about the opportunity.
Right.
Most people are unhappy at their brokerage. Most people they're overstaffed and under trained, and so a lot of times when you hear that, I want to show them or tell them about opportunity. So the biggest thing for me is hitting the transactions that I have to hit, being able to share content and let them know this is an opportunity that sometimes might make them uncomfortable,
Right.
might make them feel scared, but that's where you grow the most. So finding those people who are like-minded and adding them to your sphere of influence, that to me, that's the ultimate goal. So that's the goal, to grow incrementally each year.
Surrounding yourself with the right people makes the biggest difference, man. And
Very, very key in life, business, and everything.
Everything, yeah, 100%, man. I think, it's in our human nature to be fearful of change. So we do get that initial pushback, like, what if this isn't the right move for me? What if this doesn't make sense? And so a lot of people get comfortable in being where they are because their mind just isn't open to the other opportunities that may be available for them.
Oh yeah.
And so I totally see where that's coming from, man. So, any final words for you? Anything to wrap it up? What would you say, like, to a brand new agent, somebody that just wants to get licensed? What would you say is the biggest takeaway from the business that you've learned so far?
The biggest thing is believe in yourself, bet on yourself. Don't give up if you don't pass the test the first time. Don't give up when you pass the test and you start reaching out to brokers, and say some of them don't reach out back. Right? So take your time, pass the course, believe in yourself, and have the mindset wherever brokerage you choose, give it your all there.
100%.
Instead of finding reasons why you should leave, find reasons to stay. So it doesn't matter where you're at, because when you go to the house, they're not worried about the broker.
Right. They could care less.
Yeah. They're sold on you. So you got to be sold on yourself first, and everything else will come much easier.
I love that, man. I love that. Well, this has been a very informative episode with you, man. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you guys for listening and staying tuned, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Adios.